Welcome to our channel. Today we delve into a critical economic concept that affects each of us, directly or indirectly: inflation. It's not just about rising prices, it's about the profound impact it has on the growth and stability of a nation. What is inflation? Inflation refers to the sustained increase in the general price level of goods and services in an economy over time. Imagine your grocery bill creeping up month after month. That's inflation in action. Types of inflation. There are various types of inflation: cost, push, driven by rising production costs, and demand pull, caused by increased consumer demand. Both can slowly seep into an economy, impacting everything from household budgets to national policies. Factors contributing to inflation. Inflation isn't just about what happens within a country's borders. Factors like changes in money supply, fluctuations in wages, and global economic trends all play crucial roles in shaping inflationary pressures. The ripple effect. Inflation doesn't just affect prices, it ripples through every sector of the economy. As prices rise, consumers have less purchasing power. Businesses face higher costs, leading to potential job cuts or reduced investment. Governments grapple with managing interest rates and fiscal policies to keep inflation in check. Impact on economic growth. The impact on economic growth is profound. High inflation can erode confidence in the economy, discourage investment, and ultimately slow down growth. It's a delicate balance for policymakers to ensure inflation rates are stable enough to foster growth without spiraling out of control. Strategies to mitigate inflation. Governments and central banks employ various strategies to mitigate inflation, from adjusting interest rates to controlling money supply. These measures aim to stabilize prices and sustain economic growth over the long term. Case studies and historical context. Looking at historical examples like hyperinflation in Zimbabwe or stable inflation in developed economies helps us understand the real-world impact of inflationary policies and practices. The following are some of the impact of inflation on the economy. 1. Consumer purchasing power. Inflation erodes the purchasing power of consumers over time. When prices rise, the same amount of money buys fewer goods and services. This reduction in purchasing power affects consumer behavior. People may cut back on discretionary spending, delay major purchases, or seek cheaper alternatives. Consequently, businesses dependent on consumer spending may experience reduced sales and profits. 2. Business operations. Businesses face higher costs when inflation drives up prices of raw materials, utilities, and wages. To maintain profit margins, they may pass these costs on to consumers through higher prices. Alternatively, they might absorb the costs temporarily, which can squeeze profitability and limit funds available for investment in new technologies, expansion, or hiring. Uncertainty about future costs due to inflation can also make long-term planning and decision-making challenging for businesses. 3. Investment and economic growth. High inflation rates can discourage investment in productive assets and infrastructure. Investors and businesses may prefer to hold onto cash or invest in assets that offer protection against inflation, such as real estate or commodities, rather than funding projects that contribute to economic growth. Reduced investment can lead to slower expansion of businesses, fewer job opportunities, and ultimately hinder overall economic growth. 4. Government policy challenges. Governments and central banks use monetary policy tools, like adjusting interest rates or managing the money supply, to control inflation. Higher interest rates can help curb inflation by reducing borrowing and spending, but they can also increase the cost of servicing government debt and dampen economic activity. Balancing these policies is crucial to achieving price stability while promoting sustainable economic growth. 5. Social and political implications. Persistently high inflation can have broader social and political consequences. It can erode public confidence in the economy and government policies, leading to social unrest, protests, and strikes as people demand higher wages to keep up with rising prices. In extreme cases, hyperinflation, where prices escalate rapidly, can undermine the value of the national currency, causing economic instability and political upheaval. Next, we have the effects of inflation. Can be significant and wide-ranging across different sectors of the economy. Here's an overview of its key effects. Purchasing power erosion. Inflation reduces the purchasing power of money over time, meaning that the same amount of money buys fewer goods and services. This can lead to a decline in the standard of living for consumers as their money becomes less valuable. Cost of living increases. As prices rise, the cost of living increases for individuals and households. Essential goods and services such as food, housing, healthcare, and transportation become more expensive, putting pressure on household budgets. Impact on savings and investments. Inflation can erode the value of savings and investments that do not keep pace with inflation rates. Fixed income investments, such as bonds and savings accounts with low interest rates, may fail to preserve purchasing power. Business operations and profitability. Businesses face higher costs for raw materials, labor, and other inputs. When inflation rises, they may pass these increased costs onto consumers through higher prices, potentially reducing consumer demand and profitability if consumers cut back on spending. Interest rates and borrowing costs. Central banks often raise interest rates to control inflation. Higher interest rates increase the cost of borrowing for businesses and consumers, which can dampen economic activity and investment. Income redistribution. Inflation can lead to income redistribution effects. For example, individuals with fixed incomes or wages that do not keep pace with inflation may experience a decline in real income, while those with assets that appreciate in value during inflationary periods may see their wealth increase. Impact on government finances. Governments may face increased costs for servicing national debt if interest rates rise due to inflation. Additionally, tax revenues may be affected if inflation reduces economic growth and business profitability. Social and political consequences. Persistently high inflation rates can undermine public confidence in the economy and government policies. This can lead to social unrest, protests, and political instability as individuals and groups advocate for policies to mitigate the effects of inflation. Understanding these effects is essential for policymakers, businesses, and individuals to navigate economic challenges and implement strategies to promote sustainable economic growth and stability. In conclusion, inflation exerts profound effects on economies, touching upon purchasing power, the cost of living, savings and investments, and business operations. Understanding these impacts is crucial for individuals, businesses, and policymakers alike to navigate economic challenges effectively. By staying informed and adapting strategies to mitigate inflationary pressures, we can foster sustainable economic growth and stability. If you found this information helpful, don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more insights on economic topics. Feel free to share this video with others who may benefit, and leave your thoughts or questions in the comments below. Your engagement helps us create content that addresses your interests and concerns. Thank you for watching.